Well, welcome everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to March's partner training. We are so excited to have been with you today online, albeit we would love to have been in physical location of Heathrow, but circumstances being what they are, we find ourselves online. But the beautiful thing about that, there's a saying in life that within every seed of adversity, there's a seed of greatness, meaning there's always an opportunity. And so we have people from Hungary on, we've got South Africa on, we've got US on, we've got Spain on, who would not have been in Heathrow. So, proud of you of making that time and putting it aside. We do have content-wise, a full afternoon. So I just want to give you a heads up of how the running order is going to work so you can pace yourselves. I see people with some refreshing shakes there, coffees. I see some of you socializing in venues and having lunch together. Congratulations, pulling together, being flexible. So the running order for today is we're going to hear from our sales national director, Steve Morley, overseeing the United Kingdom and the Irish market. We're going to hear from our diamonds in South Africa, Sam and Kirsten Pierce, have a little bit of product training and some experience being shared by them about why Zinzino and why now. Then we're going to hear from our very own Nigel and Sue Booth of some real practical things that we're going to want to be doing moving forward so we can implement and maximize not just March, but the remainder of 2020. And then we're going to break. So you can go stretch your legs, get a refreshment, and then we're going to come back within about 15 minutes and we're going to go for round two. And we're going to just acknowledge the people that have been moving through the ranks through January and February. We would love to do that individually, but we won't be able to do this online. Of course, we're going to hold that off until we are physically together. And then I'm going to be covering some basics of how to start moving your business forward. And then, of course, the good-looking Italian stallion, Marco Passanante, who's going to be the keynote speaker for the afternoon. So with that said, please continue reminding your teams, do not miss this training. Do not miss this training, because we have a lot of exciting information. And to kick that off, we have our very own Sales National Director, Mr. Steve Morley, based in the center of the United Kingdom, Milton Keynes, who's been working tirelessly behind the scenes to help us establish our presence in the United Kingdom. You're going to hear some incredible updates. So with that said, I'm going to mute myself out. Steve, we appreciate everything you're doing right now. And I know the team are sitting on the edge of their seats waiting to hear some announcements, your updates, and maybe some exciting things that you want to close out your little speech with. So, Steve Morley, over to you.
Hi, Dave. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. It's all yours, Steve.
Hi, thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being on the call today. I'd just like to thank Marco for the business opportunity meeting that he just done for prospects and people looking at the business. Magnificent job, my friend. And thank you for coming over to the UK. Thank you for support to the UK market. Your support, the discussions we've had, your commitment, your understanding of the business here. Honestly, all of us just like to take a second just to thank you for that. Honestly, I think without you, we'd be a lot smaller company than we are now here. As you all know, I started about 8 weeks ago, 7-8 weeks ago, and every day is becoming more and more like family to me. Everybody, from the people I'm interacting with every day to the company whose support has been nothing short of magnificent, to basically the products and everything. I'm so excited to be here. It's incredible. Today, I'd like to really go through with you some of the things that the company is doing with its mission of continuous improvement. And that's what I'm seeing every day with regard to the UK market and where we are in terms of the launch date, which I'll be able to share more information with you today. And also new promotions, some product updates, etc. I'd like to thank again the team who pull on this meeting. I know that we are not live, i.e. face-to-face, but it was one of those big decisions. It's a hard time for the world right now, not just for us. And one thing that I feel completely strongly for is the fact that the industry we're in and the company we are and the products we are, you know, we are of course unhappy that this virus has hit the world. It's not something we'd wish on anybody, but at the same time, you know, we have great products, and you know, we have to promote those products, we have to sell those products, the world needs those products. You know, we're promoting, we shouldn't be ashamed of growing. I mean, we've been growing for the past 10, 15 years. We should not be ashamed of growing, even in this sort of climate. And people need companies growing, and people need our products, and health is important. At the moment, you know, energy prices are falling, interest rates are falling. People have more time and money per se than they've had in a long time. So for our business, it's obviously a positive. And whilst a lot of companies in our business are not in the health industry, we are. And, you know, we have or I feel strongly that, you know, protecting my family and improving people's immune systems can only be good for this. So I'm really sorry we had to cancel the live meeting in Heathrow. I'm very pleased that we come to that decision as a group. And I'd like to thank everyone who I've been interacting with the past couple of months maximum. I mean, Dave, you've been amazing. I've not seen a leader like you, really haven't, in my 30 years of the industry. You live and breathe the company. You're here 24/7. Sue, Nigel, the same. Kenny, amazing. Scott, Fitz, Paul, Stewart, Ian, Nikki, Jackie, and everyone else, just great. So I want to start just by, I'm not going to introduce myself so much. I've been in the industry a long time. I've been in Asia a long time. I decided to join Synceno after 3-4 months of discussion, and I've not looked back. Working with these people is amazing. Working with the products and the opportunity we have is just incredible. So I'm excited about this year, and it's this year that I really want to focus on today. You know, family for me is everything. I have 4 children and a grandson. Yes, I'm a granddad. I know it's hard to believe. But just me taking these products. I've done my first test. I was 23.2 to 1. My second test is in 4 weeks, but already I'm feeling amazing. And I literally say that with an open heart and total confidence. I'm sleeping amazingly well. Energy is higher than ever. And it's great to be back in the UK, and it's great to be developing the UK. I've started now getting messages from leaders from other markets who are very impressed with the figures and the leadership we have in the UK, who are looking at the UK as their next potential growth spurt within the business. And I know Hilda and Orion are also looking at the UK with Dag, who's my boss. Dag's the CEO of the company and one of the greatest, I shouldn't say that, at least he's not on the call, one of the best CEOs I've ever worked with. He's open, he's honest, he's transparent, he's clear, dynamic. And, you know, he's had a hard time at the moment with the virus and the director's trip and the products and stock and all that. And I'll go into that in a few minutes. Just to give you some kind of facts and figures and some ideas of how the business is going globally. And I say globally, we're still not global, but obviously we've launched now in a lot more markets outside of Scandinavia. And I think the timing couldn't have been better. We have 50% more active partners from 2018 to 2019. Obviously, as a listed company, you can see just how well the share price has been doing over the years. And one thing, yeah.
Are you going to be sharing your screen?
Oh, I thought I was.
There we go.
All right, I'm sorry. Thanks for that. Okay, let me just pop out of this. Okay. Honestly thought it was up. I'm on slide 4 already. Sorry, guys. Give me 10 seconds. How do I do this?
So click the green envelope at the bottom of the screen where it says share.
Zoom. Okay, at the moment it's just showing my presentation.
Minimize your presentation.
I've got the presentation. Let me just, sorry guys. Oh, I was very proud of this presentation, to be honest.
Dave, you have to make him co-host, and then Steve, you have to press share.
Maybe I need to be co-host. I can't.
Yes, and press share.
Okay, bear me 1 minute. We worked this out this morning, so bear me, Steve.
Yeah, it was all perfect. Sorry, guys.
Sue, you're going to have to do it because you're the host.
What am I doing? Sorry, beg your pardon?
Making Steve co-host, please.
Okay, my apologies, Steve.
No, it's all right.
Make co-host. Okay, you're co-host. You should be able to share now.
Okay, so again, I'm looking at the presentation. Zoom.
Don't you love technology?
Yeah, don't you just love it? Okay. No, I'm not going to come out. I'm just going to continue. Okay.
Steve, if you actually click into the presentation,
Yeah.
and then you should be able to forward it from there. So don't worry about being in Zoom. Just click into the presentation, and then
I'm in the presentation.
No, you have to go back to Zoom so you see all the cameras, and there you can choose share. If you go with the mouse clicker on the cameras, actual gallery view, pops up participants, invite, where you can mute yourself, unmute yourself. There's an option called share in the middle there.
you should be sharing screen though. That should be fine.
Yeah, no, when I press share, it's just basically sending a copy to people, not
Now, when you press share, it comes up. Look upstairs, the basic, advanced, and files. Once you press share, and then you have to double click on desktop.
Aha.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so we are now at, so the partners are coming on, and every sales are just fantastic. Anyway, just to show you the sales for last year, obviously the UK was not around at the start of last year, so the numbers are not going to be different, but overall the company grew 40%. And in our industry, that's magnificent. And in terms of Christmas and New Year, we grew even more than that. And to grow these times of year is, just a real respect for everyone who basically promotes a subscription. But more importantly than that, customers are using the products, and even at Christmas and January when things are tight, they're staying on the products. So we have growth everywhere pretty much. Actually this year, Norway and Finland are flying, and Ireland is back on a positive trajectory. So every market we've launched and launching is going very well. Okay, so basically the company's strategy plan or strategic plan for 2020, I'll go through them quickly. Let me have a look at the time here. Okay, so web experience, so how partners and customers experience their experience with Zinzino. There are issues that we're dealing with, and I'd like to thank all of you for bringing them to my attention. The company's taken them seriously. Continue IT investment. We now have more than 50 IT staff in the company head office, and I love that it's not subcontracted out. It just means that things can happen as quickly as possible. I know that the foundations, i.e. the way the whole structure of the organization was built, they're basically putting it into different components, so it's much easier going forward to make changes to IT. But obviously, what I want to do is I want to stop the headaches some of you have from time to time. And obviously in a growing company, with more people joining, you will always get challenges. But to make the experience, especially for customers, perfect and very flawless, they're continuing to make investment there. New Zinzino-test.com, I can't talk much about it at the moment. But again, we've had such success with the tests that we've got at the moment, then why not look at other products and other tests, and why not look at improving the tests, give more information and more feedback. Also in that is data. I know a lot of you have asked for more data in terms of the results and demographics and age groups, and I got off a call yesterday, and that is something that the company understand and appreciate, especially now more of you are coming in with you know, doctors, naturopaths, nutritionists, gyms, etc. We need to get that as positive as possible. New markets I'll come on to in a minute, but some very exciting news there. Natural and clean products. I mean, the products are fantastic. The ingredients are fantastic. But this year we'll make some changes based on feedback from you guys and also the leadership council the company runs at a global level. We'll just keep improving the products. Brand awareness, again, is huge. Zinzino is, I mean, I just love the name when I first heard it, to be honest, but the brand is more than that. I mean, if you think of Disney, you think of, well, you don't think of closed down today, but you think of joyful and amazing, you think of Volvo, you think of safe, you think of this, you know, brand awareness, you think Zinzino, it should be omega-3, it should be immune system, it should be better health, etc. So we've got a team now in place who are working on that area, and also social media. You had all had an email last week in terms of some improvements and some strategy on social media. I will be working with some of you next week, and also the company in terms of individually how you guys can use your social media status in terms to build the business. But again, you know, if we're at 50% or 40% today, we need to be using that 100%. So that is my main goal next week, apart from one other thing, which I'll share with you in a minute. Customer retention also, you know, our customer retention rates are probably the best in the industry by a long way. People are joining, they're loving the products, they're enjoying it, they're getting their benefits, their health benefits. And once they're on, they're staying, and they're adding product to their orders, which is great. Zinzino Hub application, actually with all the free applications that we have, I think all three need to be improved. They are quite good and quite nice to look at, but in terms of how you can use them, how you can promote them, there's still a bit of work to do. So again, that's a project I'm going to be involved in from a European perspective, and I hope to share some results with you at our next meeting in March. And human resources, obviously always a big factor for any company. We are starting to hire people now in Asia. Asia is our future next big market outside of the UK. And we've acquisition and bought company in Malaysia, where I've actually come across the old owner before, and he's very good. So, you know, there are ways in which we're going to build the business, but we're going to do it in a right way. We're obviously a listed company. I would recommend all of you, if you haven't, to go into the back office and look at the results for 2019. I know you've all seen the book for the 2018 results, which is fantastic, but have a look at the 2019 results, because there's a lot of good information in there. Today I've not got enough time to share them with you. UK growth, congratulations everybody. I mean, 40% growth from Christmas is amazing. And remember, we grew from October to November, November to December, December to January. We had months where we grew. In February, we're almost 40% up. So that's 40% more customers, 40% more volume, 40% more commission. And, you know, it's just a start. I'd love to see that double every month now till the end of the year. I mean, I have to be careful what I say. It's a listed company, but we're a new market. We're young, but the leaders we have in the business already, and that's pretty much everyone on this call. I mean, the opportunity for growth and the opportunity for all of you, I think, is amazing. And I just can't wait to support you. And if you want to know what my job is, very simply, it's to provide a nice environment for everybody, and also to ensure that you're all making more money. This is how I see my role in the company. Everything else is part of that. But, you know, 40% growth January and February is amazing. New markets this year, I'm not going to go through them. I probably should have put little names under the flags. Okay, UK is the next one. Okay, so that's really good news. So the UK will be launching next, and I will share with you in about 10 minutes where we are today and how that's going to happen. But UK is next, and some other European markets, South Africa, and obviously Asia. Our products are going through a and new branding in terms of the look and feel and some of the ingredients, but the molecule symbol is more probably apt for our business or our products. And I think you'll agree. And the feedback I've had so far is people think it's much improved. So we're going to continue with that. And we've added a few people to the marketing department in Europe headquarters. And as they do that, there's more interaction between the headquarters and the local markets like us in terms of working together on what's best for Europe or what's best for the markets. And obviously my job is to fight for you guys on that. But thank you for the feedback so far. Globally, there is a big push and focus now, which hasn't actually come from the company, which has come from you guys, which is on the health protocol rather than just on the balance oil. And, you know, the timing with the virus and that immune system is everything. So we should be very proud of the product offering we have at the moment, but we will continue to improve it as all the companies do. Okay, so a couple of new things. We are announcing and launching a practitioner's kit, which is mainly for doctors, nutritionists, naturopaths, gyms, etc. The kit itself will include 15 tests and fairly balanced oils. So people can predominantly find a customer, take the tests, tell them, send them enough product for their test results to come back, and then either sign them up as a customer or a partner. So that gives people some weeks to engage with the client or customer, also take the tests. And I'm really happy to announce that that has been approved on Friday. So this is happening and it will go live. And this is the issue I have because it's IT and I don't, you know, I would say it's going to go live Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, if it's going Thursday, I'm sorry for that. I would not focus on it at the moment, but it was just such a great opportunity to share it with you. A lot of you have been asking for this and we're very delighted to deliver it for you. So again, you'll get the prices on Tuesday and we'll launch Tuesday or Wednesday is my best guess, but don't shoot me if it's Thursday. But it's just that IT just needs to be done. A couple other things on my to-do list and to tell you about. Firstly, I will be, for the rest of this meeting, the next few hours, I will be using live chat. So if any of you have any questions or want to meet me or anything, then please feel free just to write on there. If you don't want to do that and you just want to write to me personally, then you have my email address and phone number here. Feel free to WhatsApp me or message me and take a photograph of it. I'm sure this presentation will be sent out to you all later anyway. One thing I'm very happy with is the improvement in the customer service support for you guys in the UK. We have a dedicated partner's email address and dedicated customer email address now, which you can use. We've also changed and increased the amount of CS support for you. And again, it's one of those things, I will see how it goes, but I'm gonna, if you get stuck over the weekend, then message or WhatsApp me for the time being, and I will try and resolve things for you over the weekend. Now this is, I will see how it goes, but again, you guys work weekends, so, you know, so do I. So that's my information. There'll be no director trip this year. This has obviously been cancelled due to the coronavirus. But what we'll be doing every day is a Facebook Live for 1 hour a day, Monday to Friday, times and that I will send through to you, which will have different speakers every day. So you have the product team, you have the sales team, you have the social media team, you have the shareholders, you'll have the CEO, COO, etc. And this will be quite interactive as well. So, you know, we're trying to turn a negative into a positive, but it's available for all of you. So you don't need to be a director to be on this. It's available for everybody. Other areas I'm working on at the moment to help you. One is social media. exhibitions and support, Ireland, which will come after the UK launch, the second order process for customers, the merge from customers to partners, Paul Clayton books, and a lot of you asked for that, so I'm working on that at the moment, and corporate on webinars. So getting some of my peers and some of the people onto weekly calls for you. So that essentially is my main to-do list now. Incorporation and launch. In February, I think I announced we're about 60% through incorporation. We're now 90%, and the only things we're waiting for at the moment is IT and pricing. This will happen very soon, and at the next meeting in April, I'm sure it will be done. That being said, the launch event, we will decide on that in the next few weeks. We'll obviously take your views into account, the government's views, doctors' views, and the corporate perspective. But you know, what a great time to be in the business. It really is. So hopefully we will. That is pretty much done. I actually will start on completing the 100% tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and I have a call at 9 with the IT department, with the finance department. So I look forward to sharing that with you. And finally, from me, just a reminder on the Platinum incentive. Qualify Platinum. There is no date on this, okay? It's definitely gonna be before launch. At one point, I will put a date on it. But for now, anyone who qualifies Platinum will get a trip, flights and accommodation paid by us. Firstly to Orion's house, then a trip to Villas, and then a trip to headquarters to meet all the staff. I've not, yeah, okay, I was meant to delete the happy face, sorry about that. But no end date at the moment. So all of you can do it, all of you have the chance to do it. The way we're growing, it's just a matter of time. But that's my last slide today, and I'd just like to again thank everyone for their tremendous support, especially Dave, who works 24/7. Everyone does, actually, to be honest. And Marco, thank you so much. But everyone, thank you for being on the call. I will be on live chat, and you've got my information. I will send it again later today. I'll actually post the information on the chat, so you've got it. And, you know, I'm looking forward to the rest of the day. So I look forward to working with all of you and getting to know you all a lot better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. If you could stop sharing that, bring the, thank you, buddy. Thank you, thank you. So thank you for that informative update. I'm glad you left a smiley face. I'm glad you left a smiley face on there. So, but any questions, put them in the chat. That promotion, just to make sure the question has already come up, it's for UK-based partners, because we're obviously incentivizing those based here in United Kingdom. But that said, if you're part of the team, you're outside of the United Kingdom, i.e., example, Hungary, but you can build into United Kingdom, it'd be just as advantageous for you to help people in United Kingdom qualify. You want people on your team going, because if you've got people on your team going, your volume's growing. So, Steve, incredible, informative. Can't wait for the next event that we have for more updates. And I'm sure you'll keep us posted throughout the weeks as they unfold. Now, let's move on. One of those flags we saw in the countries that will be opening very soon is South Africa. And we've got a couple here already on the screen, Sam and Kirsten Pierce. These are dear, dear friends of mine. Although we have only met a handful of times, we've always connected and been aligned in our thinking. These guys have experienced incredible second generational success in the industry. They were brought up in the industry and took those principles and applied it to maybe a handful of companies previously. They'll share their story. But for one reason or another, we reconnected middle of last year. We started sharing my excitement about this opportunity. And they're both into their wellness, way beyond me. And when I got them in front of the product, in front of the leadership, they made a decision to come partner with us. And so as I asked them to maybe give up some of their time, because they're 2 hours ahead, would they come on, share with us today? This is an honor, folks. This couple has spoken on stages around the world in front of tens of thousands, and they're coming to us today to give us their experience, their wisdom, and their reasons why Zinzino. So, guys, appreciate you. Going to hand it over to you. Sam, you're looking beautiful. Kirsten, you get away with it. But the floor is all yours, my friend, and we appreciate your time.
Hey, Dave, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. I'm just going to keep quiet and look very pretty next to Sam. So watch this amazing work.
Okay, so thanks for clarifying, David. I am Sam, short for Samantha, and this is Kirsten. If you get the names confused though, friends, it doesn't matter. We answer to pretty much anything. But Dave asked me just to share briefly in terms of the balanced oil. So just to give you a qualification for myself, I've been in the industry of health and wellness for 20 years, everything from sports massage to personal training to group fitness, all the way through to nutrition coach. I am an internationally certified nutrition coach. And so when I took a look at these oils, I understood the value of what an omega-3 does to the body. And friends, it's really important that we share that and communicate that effectively with people that we're wanting to partner with, or people that we're wanting to bring on board as customers. Because as we know, omega-3s are the most widely requested supplement in the world today, but most people don't understand why. So we need to look at the fact that omega-3s are essential fatty acids, meaning the body cannot make them themselves. We need to get it from external sources. And where do we get omega-3s from? From fish. A lot of people, however, are scared of eating fish. We live in Johannesburg, which is a very, very central, like slap bang in the middle of South Africa. There's no ocean around us. We are the only city that is built not close to an ocean. So we don't get fresh fish. So, or close to a water source. Thank you, Kirsten. We're built on a gold reef, but we have no access to fresh fish. So for us in South Africa, especially in Johannesburg, fresh fish is not a dietary choice. So we need to
Sam, if you can hear us, we seem to have lost sound from you guys. There we go.
I'm back. Can you hear me now? Okay, perfect. So I'll just step back a bit. Omega-3s are essential for everything. So think of your brain. Think of all the nerve connections in your brain. Think of your eyes. It's essential for your skin, for your muscles, for your tendons, for your connective tissue. Omega-3s are essential for your gut and the inside of your organs. If you start to see how important omega-3 is, you'll start to realize every single person needs these omega-3s. Now, what's also important to realize about what we offer is the fact that it's portioned out according to weight. Now, this was the first time I'd ever heard of this, and this makes a lot of sense because, say, for example, Kirsten is closer to 80 kilograms. I don't know what that is in pounds, but I think you guys work in kilograms as well, which is awesome because that's the only way to do measurements. I am not yet 60 kilograms, but we can't take the same amount of oil because our bodies have different requirements. So if Kirsten had to take 2 capsules of an omega-3, and I had to take 2 capsules of omega-3, what's going to happen is we're not going to get sufficient omega-3 to do what it needs to do. So some omega may go to the brain, some may go to the heart, some may go to the nerves, but the body isn't getting enough to optimally function, okay? However, if we're working according to weight, the body can take that omega and can apportion it according to where it needs to go. The majority of the omegas goes to our brains. Friends, I think the ratio is 70% of the omega we take in, the brain is 70% fat. So if it goes to that, the majority there, then you know if I'm taking in enough, I'm going to be able to utilize it. My brain function is going to start to improve so that we know every person is getting enough omega-3 to work on their brain, their nerves, their eyes, their heart, their digestion, every single aspect. It is a very important part of what we do that very often we overlook. Then an essential part of our balance oil is the polyphenols. Friends, this is where the magic happens, is in these polyphenols. You know, Orion was taking us through the product to understand it a bit more. 60% of the results that we're getting overall is because of these polyphenols, and they are so powerful in terms of being an antioxidant, in terms of helping to support immunity. So in the body, we have glutathione, which comes and tries to help the immune system to fight off any viruses or anything that's going around. The polyphenols come alongside the glutathione and kind of lift the load off of its shoulders in very, very basic terms. What that means is the glutathione is now available to start to fight what it needs to fight. Think of how important that is in terms of where we are globally. We're needing something to come along and support our immune system. And here we have polyphenols available in an omega-3 to provide that support to us. With the omega-3s and the polyphenols, lowering the omega-6 levels in our blood and raising the ratio of the omega-6 to the omega-3, what we're doing is reducing that chronic inflammation markers in our body. When we do that, our immune system is able to bounce back and to support us better. So what we have is not a cure for what's going on, because it never works like that, but it is another weapon in our arsenal to protect our health against what is going around. And when people can understand that, it is a weapon in our arsenal. That's all it is. It's another piece to the puzzle to providing complete wellness. Then what we have is the ability for people to see not a cure-all product that's, you know, going to solve all your problems and, you know, bring world peace, but it's actually just going to support your health. That what you're looking to do, support your immunity. So what we have in a little bottle of lemon flavored or orange lemon mint or grapefruit flavored or vanilla oil is the ability to support the body and provide optimal wellness. And this is what people are looking for. Partnered with the Balance Test, which is that test-based nutrition. This is the way that wellness is moving, friends. In the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see people are not going to take supplements unless they are supported with the blood test to prove that they work. This is what the global wellness community is looking for. We are leading the forefront of that. This is a disruptive technology in the fact that we are disrupting the way people understand wellness, and we are leading the charge in terms of that. When people can see the fact that we have a test to prove the efficacy of our oil in their blood, what we have is proof that what we say the oil does will do. So I hope that short little introduction to kind of a bit of a deeper dive into the understanding why the oils are so important has been helpful.
Great. Well, before we jump into the next part, I just want to take the opportunity just to thank Dave. Dave, we do appreciate you. For those of you that don't know, Dave is our upline and our sponsor. So I do appreciate all the effort and energy that you put into our business, as well as to Marco and Phil. We love you guys too. Actually, we just like everybody. So, but really appreciate the effort you guys have put in. So just jumping into a couple of things. Dave's asked me to share some of the context of our story, a little bit of why Zinzino, and what I really want to get across to most people that are on this call today is just an understanding of where we find ourselves within the phase of Zinzino right now. And some of the stuff that Steve mentioned earlier on, I really want to kind of jump back to, because there's a poignant moment that we find ourselves in. But like Dave mentioned, I am a second generation network marketer. My mom has been a 45-year industry veteran. She's seen this industry go from real true direct sales through to multi-level marketing, through to network marketing, into the kind of online retail space that it is today. Seen lots of things happen. And so I've grown up in this industry. My dad died when I was very young. This industry literally saved our lives. It took my mom, who was unemployed, and she started a home-based business, and she went and put, 4 kids through school, and we've all done pretty well, and we're kind of doing what we're doing now. But I'm here because I saw the evidence of what this amazing industry could do when you really applied yourself to it. Sam, however, had no cooking clue what this industry was. Her family had never been involved. No one had been involved in any direct sales and network marketing in her entire family. No aunts, no uncles, no brothers, sisters, parents. It was just a straight-laced corporate environment family. And so Sam married into this family, realized all of a sudden that she wasn't in Kansas anymore. No matter how hard she tried to kick her heels, she wasn't going back home. And she's kind of grown into this phase of realizing, well, this is how we do life. And it's that freedom of being in this industry that has enabled us to do what we've done. Travel around the world. We've been full-time in this industry now for more than a decade. Our kids don't know what life is like outside of having parents at home the whole time. And that's a pretty interesting thing. You know, for a lot of us, what we don't realize is what our kids or those around us will experience from this industry. And I remember my son sitting down with me once. I'd been on a couple of trips. Sam and I went on a European trip and we came back. And my son said, Dad, like, I feel like we haven't seen you. Like, this is not, we need to spend more time together. Like, what about our quality time? And I sat down with him. I said, boy, let me just share with you a little bit of how the real world works. You know, you got moms and dads who wake up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, get ready. Their kids are getting ready. They take them to school. They may have half an hour together in the morning in the car on the way to school. They don't see each other. The kids finish school. And then if they're lucky enough to have a mom at home or a dad at home, then dad may pick them up. But most kids go to an after school program. And then mom and dad get back at 5 or 6 in the evening. Then we quickly eat something together, maybe spend half an hour. You go to bed and we repeat the cycle again. And I remember my son, who was probably 7 at the time, looked at me and he was like, Dad, do people really live their lives like that? I said, yeah, my boy. I said, not everybody gets to wake up and have breakfast every morning together. Not every mom and dad has a cappuccino every day before we start the day together, because that's what we were looking for out of this industry. And that's not, you know, I'm not one of those people. You'll never ever hear me get on stage and say jobs are bad or being in corporate America is bad or corporate Britain or anything like that. But you've got to understand that there is a great opportunity for dramatic success here. And in that space, it's really about identifying what it is that you're looking to get out of it. And that's been our journey. You know, the evolution of our network marketing careers has been moving through 3 companies. We were with our first company, which was a nutrition-based company, for just under 10 years. And we understood what we needed in this industry. We created great success there, but we realized that we were missing very specific pieces that would give us the ability to build that legacy type business. And then what we did is we looked for another home for us to go to. And we were with another company for 5 years. We were very successful in that company and held the top rank on the continent of Africa with that business. And we experienced what it was like to be a part of a company that went from a couple $100 million to over $1 billion in sales in the space of a year. I mean, it was an extraordinary ride. But those 2 learning strategies for us were quite dramatic. And I use the phrase learning strategies very carefully, because when you go through these environments, even though you've had success, what you're starting to do is to realize what it is that you're looking for. And so we had seen what would be kind of a slower build, kind of real reserve business versus one of these kind of maverick, crazy, fast growth, let's just take a couple of shots into the dark and see what we hit. And in that space, we started to realize this was probably not going to be the path that we would want our kids to go down. And so you kind of build a wish list of what you're looking for in network marketing as you're moving forward. And that's really where Zinzino started to come into the fore for us, because our positioning into Zinzino was not walking away from nothing. We walked away from a really big turnover business with tens of thousands of people in more than 130 countries across the planet. And we chose to make that transition because of one simple thing. And that was the balance oil that Sam was just spoken about. Because I could not believe that there was actually a product out there in this industry that gave you the opportunity to audit whether or not the product worked for you. And we have seen some remarkable things in our time. I mean, network marketing is renowned for having products that are at the absolute forefront of innovation. And especially in the wellness space, the large majority of big innovations in wellness have come through network marketing. And so we've seen these things, but we've always just guessed that they've worked. We've had the anecdotal stories and people sharing, you know, kind of they felt the differences in them. But, you know, feeling is something that disappears really quickly when times get tough. And for me, the biggest challenge was always customer retention. And if people don't really know that what they're utilizing is working, what happens is they disappear. And when they disappear, it means they just stopped ordering monthly, and that doesn't give you stability and security in your business. And so for the better part of more than 15 years, Sam and I have chased this mythical unicorn of truly stable, repetitive customer orders. And so this is how it happened. I was using a really good Omega, which I believed was really good. It was very expensive, so it should have been really good. $200 that we were spending a month, importing it into South Africa, taking it, not getting the results that we felt we should be getting out of an Omega. Popped a post onto Facebook. I realized Dave was involved with something that was oily. Popped Dave a message. Dave was like, no problem, buddy. I'll send you some product. And stuff arrived at our door. We had no clue who Zenzino was. We had no clue what the balance oil was. It was Omega in a bottle. My first thing was, I hope this doesn't taste like Scott's Emulsion or cod liver oil, because that was my first thought. You know, it's amazing how we're conditioned into how we grew up. But we tried the oil, and Sam and I are extremely healthy. We look after ourselves. I'm a competitive amateur fighter. Sam is just a fitness freak. She's one of these crazy people that if she's not happy during the day, she hasn't worked out like 2 hours in the morning. And so we eat really clean. We don't have any major issues. We're kind of getting to 40, and that's life. We're realizing, well, you know, things are going downhill, and so we've got to supplement as best as what we can. And then we try this Omega out, and I noticed within a couple of days that just my joints are starting to feel like they're moving better, which was dramatic for me. I've got an issue with inflammation in my joints that I've had since I was probably 23 or 24 years old. And so that starts to happen. And then we start to see recovery starting to increase and our rate of recovery starting to increase. All of a sudden, we're not missing words anymore. You know, getting up on stage and speaking in front of 10,000 people, and one of the words that you can't remember from what you're talking on is recession, and you can only describe recession so many times. That's where I find myself speaking to people trying to be coherent, and I couldn't remember the word recession, and all of a sudden that starts to disappear, and I start to notice my recall increasing. And then our results come back, and we think that we didn't think we'd be in balance, but we thought we'd be close. And I ended up being 27 point something, and Sam was 25 point something to 1, and we were crazily out of balance, so much so that the little needle couldn't go any more in the red. It was all the way in the red. And we realized that we were living in a place where we were literally a ticking time bomb for degenerative disease to kick in our body, simply because we had massive amounts of silent chronic inflammation. And here we find ourselves with a simple product that tastes remarkable, that our kids take, that we're taking, and for 4 months we had to have faith. Now, we had seen Dave's results, because if anybody follows Dave on social media, you know, Dave is like on it with posting things. But we saw his results, and we trust Dave, and there's no reason Dave would lie to us. But, you know, seeing is believing. And so it took a couple of months, and we felt the differences, but feeling is not the same as knowing. And then what happened is we got our results back. I went down from 27.8 to 2.7 to 1 in just over 120 days. Sam dropped down to 3.1, which means that I am more in balance than Sam, and everything in our household is a competition. So Sam really doesn't like it when I mention this out loud, but I'm the winner. Sam is the second place when it comes to balancing. But that was the dramatic result for us, because for the first time in our lives as wellness professionals and as network marketers, what we had is just irrevocable proof that what we have works. You can say what you want about polyphenols. You can say what you want about D3. You can say what you want about omega-3. It all comes down to the fact, can you prove what you're on is working? And we're seeing this around the world. You've got to understand, friends, you know, if we had to take a look at a comparison between South Africa and Great Britain, I mean, the reality is that the UK is so far ahead of where South Africa is, but we're sitting here with some of the top doctors in the world in epigenetics that are putting together programs where they're coding very specific supplementation for men and women here in South Africa. There is a global revolution that is happening. And if you're not going to capitalize on it now, you're going to miss the opportunity to be the early adopter of this test-based nutrition craze that is going to go crazy. And people will remember the name Zenzino because we are the first company that has gone mass market global with a technology that actually proves that we have technologies that work. And so when you put all of those things together for us, honestly, I sat down with Sam the one day, and I've got something that I say when I do a presentation, and it's for 100% just genuine honesty with people. And what I say to people is, I'm here on stage in front of you sharing this opportunity because I truly believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that what I have to put in front of you is the best possible opportunity on the market. And that's what I say to people. That's what we say in the businesses that we're in, because we chose to be there because of what it would do, not only for us, but for our teams and the people that would engage and involve themselves with it. And I remember sitting down with Sam after coming back from an event, after we had experienced our kind of first interaction with the Zinzino product. And I said to Sam, I can't say that I believe that where we are currently is the best opportunity. And it was tough for us, because once you say those things out loud, you've got to be somebody that follows through on that. And literally on that day, I canceled all of the trips that I was doing, and I was traveling about 2 to 3 weeks out of every month across the whole of South Africa into Europe to support our teams. And we had this big moral quagmire where we were deciding where we're going to move. And long story cut really short, here we are, starting from scratch in a country that isn't open, but moving a boatload of product because people are excited about test-based nutrition versus guest-based nutrition. And with that, what I want to do, that background leads into a real understanding of where we are right now. I'm a picture person. And I don't know if any of you, I know that you have like 3 surfing beaches in the UK, but I'm pretty sure you've all seen surfing. And if you're a little bit older, you probably watched The Endless Summer, desperately wishing that you had a tan like everybody on that video. But, for a lot of people, the kind of real lifestyle is, if you think about just that hedonistic lifestyle, doing what you want, when you want, how you want, it probably involves a surfboard, an absolute bronze body. And for me, that picture is what I'm going to use, because I believe that there are cycles in the way that things are done. Every business goes through S-curves. You've got this move up and down. There's no business that grows continually. You've got to have the ups and the downs. But as long as the company you're with is doing the right thing, what will happen is, as you're moving through those S-curves, your previous low will be higher than the previous high. And so you've got to keep on moving through this trajectory. So there's a couple of things that you need to look out for. The first thing that I want to point out is, if you take a look at surfing, there's a couple of things that you need to be aware of. Number one is, you don't start paddling when you can see the wave coming towards you, because when you do that, it's too late. And the first time I ever got into the water, what I realized was that you had to understand what was coming, have a belief and a conviction that it was coming, and then paddle before it came, because you needed to have enough pace and momentum for the wave to be able to pick you up. And in the beginning stages, waves aren't very big. They haven't got to that point where they've got that beautiful barrel yet. They're just a lump in the water, but that lump gets bigger and bigger until eventually what happens is inevitability. It will fold over, and it will create a huge amount of momentum. And if you're in the right place, on the right vehicle, at the right time, what you have is the opportunity to look like an absolute rock star riding that surfboard into the beach. And so for me, this is where Zinzino is right now. I don't believe that we are in the biggest growth period that Zinzino will have. I believe that truly that this company is at a position where we're not even at the beginning of the biggest set of momentum that we will see. You see, I think that Zinzino is positioned very specifically in the industry to be in a prime place to start this revolution of test-based nutrition, with a global expansion at the same time, gaining huge notoriety. But essentially, the people that are involved right now, which is not a huge amount of people globally when we take a look at the industry, but what we do have now is the small group of pioneers that have the opportunity to be those forerunners. And friends, if I can be honest with you, I would never, ever, ever want to be in a business that I couldn't pioneer, because the pioneering part of what we do is where the biggest payoff is. And I don't mean that people who get involved with Zinzino later won't have the same opportunity. It's not that. But what I do want you to understand is that pioneers take the biggest knocks, but they have the greatest rewards. And it is such an amazing thing to be able to see. And this would essentially be for us the 3rd business that we've launched. We've had 3 launch phases, and we've seen what works and what doesn't. And what I love is that Zinzino is doing the things that need to be done in the right way. And just listening to having somebody like Steve in the UK there working through the things. I mean, it's great to hear a corporate guy really taking a jump at a whole bunch of these things and fighting for you to have great results in your market, because that's what it takes. It's this conglomeration of a couple of things. So you've got to paddle before the momentum, which is where you are now. The biggest thing to do is to realize you may look around you now and you may see other people not paddling, and that's okay. because you don't have to have them paddling with you for you to catch the wave. You just got to be convinced and convicted that you're going to do it. So you've got to keep your momentum moving. And it's always slower in the beginning. But what will happen is when momentum is compounded, it becomes unstoppable. You see, what will happen on that surfboard is either you will hit the beach or you will fall off from speed. That's what happens. But you will be moving in the direction of where you were paddling. And that's what you have to do. Now is so important to make sure that you make that one decision to continually keep on paddling and doing what you need to do, because it's those people now that continue to do that work, that continue to do the daily things of making the list, contacting, inviting, showing the plan, following through, make a list, contact, invite, show the plan, follow through, wake up the next day, make a list, contact, invite, show the plan, follow through. But I'm under quarantine. That's fine. Make a list, contact, invite, show the plan and follow through. I can't cough on people. That's fine. Make a list, contact, invite, show the plan and follow through. Keep on going through the cycle, because it's those people that see it through now, that when a book is written about Zinzino, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, where they talk about the dramatic growth of what happened, you will hear phrases like, and then came a man called Dave Ives. And then came a couple from South Africa called Kirsten and Samantha Pierce. And can you believe his parents gave him a girl's name? And you will hear your name in that book if you don't give up the paddling now. But now is the very tough time that you've got to paddle, because it's the hardest time. But friends, it is the most pertinent time. Just remember, pioneers always take the biggest arrows, but they have the biggest payoff. And so when we start to put these things together, what I'll wrap up with is this. You've got to realize the positioning of Zinzino right now. Do we have the right corporate team? You know, we've been in this a long time. I've had a whole bunch of people, be really nice to us and shake hands and give us hugs and high fives and kisses and tell us how well we're doing and how much they're going to make this work. And, you get to a point where you can just see through if it's genuine or not. Like you do. I have been astounded at the corporate team that we have. We have spent a whole bunch of time with Doug and with Orion and Hilda. We spent time with Jacob, all of the team from across the whole corporate infrastructure. And I'm absolutely stoked to be involved with them, because I believe that they truly are engaged to see Zinzino grow to success. And that success is not just moving balance oil. Their success is directly linked to your success. If I can be honest with you, Steve is never going to look good unless each and every one of you on the screen go diamond and above. And so he will do whatever he needs to do to make sure you have all the tools, but unless you're paddling, you're not going to go anywhere. But we've got the right corporate infrastructure. We definitely have the right team. This is a remarkable organization of people. We're really stoked to be here. We're just getting started. Friends, One Mondo, part of the team that we're all a part of, is just getting started. It has seen nothing yet, and Zinzino doesn't even know what's going to happen to itself because we haven't even got started. And when you have that expectation in front of you that we're still going to do the best and the biggest and the most amazing and break all the records, and we're all going to buy matching cars and drive them around the Nürburgring together, and it's going to be amazing. Whatever it is that gets your fancy and floats your boat, well, that's what we're going to do, because the team is here to make sure you succeed. So make sure you help the team succeed. We have a remarkable field leadership team. We have the right product. Sam touched on that. And bear in mind, friends, we're seeing exponential growth here in South Africa with balance oil and only 3 flavors and tests. We don't have all the other whiz-bang stuff that you guys have got. We're envious about your pills and powders and all these kinds of things. All we've got is oil. Yeah. But with oil, it's enough. I believe that if we just had balance oil here, we could still qualify president after president after president in this market because the product is right. I believe our compensation structure is right too. I believe that Zinzino has hit that balance of really making sure that people that are coming in are earning good income, that whether it's somebody who's got a history in party plan or somebody who's got a history in home-based, in house meeting based businesses, or whether they're true blue network marketers, no matter how they're put together, you can succeed here. Even if you're a brand spanking new network marketer who's never done anything before, you've never earned a cent, you've been corporate up and down your whole life, fantastic. Come here, make a list, contact and invite, share the product, show the plan, and follow through. And you can become dramatically successful because the compensation plan is built for you to build a solid, stable business. We have the right timing. Right now, I mentioned that earlier on, you want to paddle before the wave has grown. A lot of people will hype jump into companies that are at their biggest point of growth, and they'll have missed that initial paddle. And friends, the fun is in going from a couple 100 million to a couple of billion. You don't want to jump in after a couple of billion, because then it's not even, then it's a pleasure cruise. Sometimes you got to stand on the wall of that wave and drop in, not knowing if you're going to survive it or not, but that's the ride of your life, because I promise you, in this industry, it's not going to kill you. Okay, very important. So the timing is right. Once we've got those 4 things put together, if we built the corporate leader, those 5 things, there are 2 other things that I believe that we have. We have this global, seamless business being put in place. Leverage the markets that are happening. You should have taken a mental picture of those flags that Steve put up on the screen earlier on, and you should be making calls into those markets today. You heard Dave mention Hungary. Get into the Hungarian market. Here in South Africa, we're here to help you grow your business in Africa. Make sure that you're leveraging those growth markets, because your business will become even dramatically more stable based on customers across multiple markets if you have that right expectation. And then the last thing, number 7, honestly, customer-based evidential testing. We're sitting on the cusp of something, and I don't know if you've realized this yet. We're doing something that nobody in the world is really doing. We're doing crowd testing. I mean, friends, there are companies that have become billion-dollar brands by saying, this is what we've invented. We want to take it to market. Who wants to buy into it beforehand? We're essentially doing that, where we're building a database of what people's omega-3 to 6 ratios look like across the planet. And we're the forefront leader that will have more than anybody else, almost 500,000 data points. And we just got started. And that's mostly Scandinavia. And what happens when Australia booms, and what happens when North America booms, and Canada booms, and Africa booms, and what happens when Asia booms? We will have hundreds of thousands and millions and millions and millions, if not tens of millions of data points that will give us the ability to pioneer our technologies into even greater niches and give people a greater lift in their wellness. You see, friends, those things put together, the right corporate team, the right field team, the right product compensation, the right timing. We built together the amazing seamless global compensation plan, and we put together this customer-based evidentiary system. And what we have is something that will work for you if you work it. Because what I can tell you is this: I've never met anybody that I've sat across from that would not have had the opportunity to be successful in network marketing, but I've met thousands upon thousands of people who have quit before they've achieved their success. Because this is not about creating wealth overnight. It's not about get rich quick. It's about creating wealth over time. And if you can understand that our industry already tries to take what most people will never do in 40 to 50 years of employment and condense it down into 2 to 5 years if they're prepared to put the blood, sweat, and tears into it. And I always used to say to people, you don't have to, you will kind of sweat and you will cry, but you won't have to bleed. Well, in this business, you do have to bleed, so I have to stop that phrase now as well. But blood, sweat, and tears, friends, and you have the opportunity to do something significant. You see, we're here because we believe in the team, we believe in the mission, we believe in the technology offering that Zinzino has, and we've pretty much put it all on the line to start from scratch at point 0, because we believe in what we have in front of us. And my encouragement to you today is this: don't shrink back from the opportunity to be somebody that shapes the very history that people will be talking about when they refer to Zinzino. There's reasons why people still talk about Dexter Yeager and still talk about Bill Britt and still talk about, all of these amazing people that have been involved in the networking industry. It's because they were the ones that took the biggest arrows, but they're the ones that people are still talking about. And friends, I don't know about you, but I want to do something significant, and I want to leave a legacy for my family that is absolutely extraordinary. And I believe that what we have in front of us is a company that will enable us to do that. So from Sam and I here in sunny 27 degrees Celsius, Johannesburg, South Africa, that is the point at which coronavirus dies on the heat scale. We're going to go run around in the sun now and make sure that everything is dead on us. But we wish you guys all of the success in the world, and we wish you each and every bit of the dreams that you've got in front of you that you work to achieve. Have a fantastic day, Dave. Thank you very much. And Steve, good to see you again. Marco, my Italian brother.
Hey, who was enjoying Kirsten up to the point temperature was mentioned? I saw all the faces change, body language, how to win friends and influence people. Folks, I don't know about you, but you know, I've been in this 8 months, and to listen to Kirsten and Sam again, just to paint the picture of what we got our hands on is incredible. So, you know, and I just typed in the comments that the greatest thing I've ever been able to do in this industry is I learned the most when people told stories. And that concept of paddling just wanted me to go and grab my Quicksilver 3/4 length shorts and a board I don't have, and jump on the couch and start to practice my balancing act. But the reality is we learn more from stories. But now we're going to shift gear. We're going to learn the practical things that we've done as a team to put in place to leverage your limited time. Because we've all got the same amount of time in the day. We've all got careers, families, whatever we've got that keeps us busy. And this is why I'm saying to people is, as we start to attract more and more in Britain, professionals and people that are busy and people that are career orientated and have other business interests, then it's not what we do with our time, it's what we do in that time. And I'm going to teach you on that a little bit later. But Sue and Nigel are going to now come and the first couple that I sat down with in Starbucks and said, I have a dilemma. I've been offered a corporate job, a bit like Mr. Morley. I don't know what his little package is, but I had been offered a corporate job with a $1 billion skin serum company, and I was offered $250,000 a year basic. Marco was persistent and asked me if I'd go meet Orion with no promise other than opportunity, and I had a dilemma. You know what the dilemma was? This one was money, and I could easily go to bed and I needed it. This one was opportunity, and I couldn't sleep about the potential. And it was because the potential is what got me excited. And I was listening to an audio yesterday that talked about the happiest we'll ever be is not in attainment, but in the pursuit of the attainment. And so this couple are going to show you what the pursuit is all about, what we should be doing in that pursuit with our daily activities. And so I am thankful that Nigel and Sue believed in me enough to come and have a coffee to then question me and then join me when we met Paul Clayton in Barcelona. So Sue, Nigel, the floor is yours. Appreciate it. And after Nigel and Sue, we're going to be breaking. So stay focused, take copious notes now, because this is going to be some real practical training on what we should all be doing. Thank you, Nigel and Sue.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Yep. Perfect. Right, so bear with me 1 second. I just need to share my screen. My computer's playing up now, always the way. Okay. And so bear with me. Right. Okay, so you should be able to see that all right. Okay, it's about making use of the tools that we actually have. And there are so many tools. And that was one of the things that it was important for me to be able to make sure that everyone had enough information that they could actually be able to kind of build their business without having to constantly refer to lots of different places. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so forgive me. But I do like to get things right. And one of the things that, there is so much information. Where do you collate that information? How do you drag it in from, different places? And although I'm quite computer literate, there are so many of people who aren't and who struggle even using a phone. And so that's not aimed at anyone in particular, so please forgive me if you think it is. But it's just really trying to make things simple as possible. So how can we do that? And you know, Zinzino have some incredible apps, and again, they're great if you're happy to use them. But if you're not, then you need to have at least a couple of areas that you can go direct to find the information that you need. And we all have the WhatsApp group, etc., and that can be overwhelming for a lot of people. So it was trying to focus in on certain things that would be able to just hone in to certain areas. So I'm literally, the first thing that I'm going to show is this. Now, we've all got, in your package, you actually get your Zinzino Express Start to Success. Now, this is, I mean, a lot of people I've said, oh, I haven't read that yet. Okay, so you need to read it. And to use it as it should be well thumbed. It should have scribbling on, it should have all sorts of bits and pieces. But one of the key things that you need to pencil in every single time is your time that you have available to do Zinzino. So this is page 18. So you need to turn to page 18 in your Success Express and actually fill out the time. So if you've got a standard job, or you know, perhaps you've got you know, children at school, so you've only got a limited time, you need to make sure that you put in where your time is available. So the time that you have to be somewhere is in the pale turquoise, lilac. So the pale lilac is really what you can't change. So you've got a job, or you have to be somewhere in particular at that certain time. So you need to fill those in, because that's going to be dedicated to your, you know, your job or your commitments to that at that time. So making sure that you have put that in to allocate the time you have available, because it's very, very simple to be able, you know, to kind of go, yeah, well, I've been really busy today. And in fact, maybe you've been on Facebook or whatever, or you've been at work and, you know, you've had your time, your lunch hour maybe, and you want to put that in there. So that lunchtime is the time that you possibly could be presenting to, you know, or sending people information or connecting with people about the business. And so just allocate the time available. So, and then everyone knows where you are, or you know, and your sponsor will know. It's important to actually share this with your sponsor, because if they're going to be working with you, as they should do, they're going to need to allocate their time. And I said, well, actually, I can't do the 5 p.m. because I've got swimming lessons for my daughter, but I could do 6:30. So then you'd have to, you know, work that out. So the darker color that you can see on this is literally the making sure that you've got, you know, the time available. So it's blocking out those work times, and then block out your specific, you know, meetings, your gym, if you've got church, or, you know, that you need to make sure you allocate that time. And I actually think you need to put in the online meetings that we do within that, and that would be actually under the darker section. So that would be, so that if it's the One Mondo group training on Monday night, then that's great, you put that in. That's not going to interfere too much, I would think, with any work, unless you're working nights, that is. But it's just making sure that you allocate those and say, well, I've got to be on that, so I can't do another meeting on that at that time. So it allocates the times that you're going to be able to do your Zinzino business, because you need to make sure that you do allocate that time. And then it's allocating time also for inviting prospects and meeting with them. So maybe if you were doing your inviting maybe on Mondays, then you could actually meet them on Wednesday or Thursday. So it's just making sure that you have it in, you know, so you can go and sit in Costa Coffee for 3-4 hours or whatever, while people come to meet you for a coffee. So just again, allocating that time, it's so important. The other thing that you have to consider is about the calendar that we, as the leaders and the main people, are actually going to be, what are we doing? So we put together this, and this was designed really, it was because, again, so many things going on that we didn't know who was doing what. So, okay, so why don't we do this calendar? We've done that. So you can see, if you click on the Google Calendar, now anyone with a Gmail account can access this. So if you wish to be added to the group for this, then you would contact me at key, and that's KEY, number 4, health, HEALTH, 1 at gmail.com. And I will add you to the group. Now, it's only available for the group. So that's, I mean, anyone within, kind of who wants to know what we're doing in the UK. So it's, and we try to add in everything and anything we possibly can. So if you look at the top, you've got the influencer call, which is actually this week from today. It's with Nigel. So Nigel's doing a 10-minute overview, and that can be accessed by clicking on, and you can see there's the link on here, the influencer. So it's a bit.ly link, NBooth, MB, influencer call. So that will be live for the rest of this week until next Sunday, when someone else will do another one, and we'll post which one that is going to be as well. I did one last week, and Dave, we've been doing them live up until now, but we need people to know that they can access them 24/7, because we're finding that people say, well, I can't get on at 1 o'clock, I don't have my lunch break till 15:15 or 30:30, so they can't get on it. So if you have the influencer call, so it frees us up first of all, but it also allows us to access it at any time, night or day. So if someone's working nights and wants to be able to do that in sort of, I think someone's unmuted themselves, but and then just accessing that. So I'm just going to share with you the next one. So I've put in most of the meetings now. At the moment, we've got the influencer coffee meets, which we actually put down, and you can see those in the turquoise, which are running throughout. And you can actually put this down onto your phone as well. So you've got this, so you can have it constant on your phone as well. So you can access it at all times. If you click on each of the things, it will bring up the venue, it will bring up the contact details of people, it will bring up an address. For instance, on this coming Saturday, Stephen Wilson in Manchester is holding a presentation and a business presentation, a live one. So that's under Saturdays, and that's the one you can see in red on the top right. And then we've obviously got the influencer meetings and the calls in the evening and the team calls. So it's just being actually remembering where everything is. So if you've got this, then at least you can access it. So here's today's, for instance. So because of the problem with coronavirus situation, we decided that we're going to take it online. So all the information for someone is there. It's there then. It shows them what, kind of a Zoom call ID it needs to be, etc. So it's really just trying to do that for you as much as possible. You won't be able to add anything in yourself, but you can add your own diary to the diary, which we won't see. It will only be available for you to see. And then we've also recently, and it's still going on at the moment, so it's still being updated and populated, we decided to put together a Teams in Zeno UK, again, with so many different social media platforms. So we've got the Messenger, we've got WhatsApp, we've got so many different things, and they can be confusing. So I said, would it be sensible to put something together we can just send people to? They can subscribe to the channel. So if they subscribe to the Teams in Zeno UK on YouTube, they will then be able to get an uploaded video. It will say, Sue's or it's just been uploaded that we've done the meeting, the recording of the meeting today, for instance. So it's just trying to access, again, all these different areas, but in one place. So we've got testimonials, as you can see here. We've got getting started trainings. There's only 2 on there at the moment. There's more being recorded at the moment. We've got some testimonials, and we need your testimonies. We need your testimonies. And Nigel's done a training on how to do that. So that can be accessed as well. I put that, within there. Presentation, so you know exactly where to go, and you can just collect a link from there. But I'm actually going to put a list of all the different links and the sharing links that you can use, and then that will make it probably a bit easier for you. So that's still going on and still current at the moment. So please go and subscribe to it. It'd be great. And but also then we have set up a Flawless Diamond group, and this was really designed. It's something that I'd had for quite some time, and I'd used within my previous business. And but I know how powerful it is, and that's not to say don't join the One Mondo team. Absolutely, because that's where you're going to get all the recognition. You're going to get all of the updates of what's going on around Europe as well. So that's really important too. And Marco does a fantastic job of doing that with his team. But it was just really wanting to, again, focus people on the UK. And we have got some people who aren't in the UK on there, but that's fine. I haven't got a problem with that at all. But it's really just the UK team here. So this is really what it was going on. So you will see that there's a files tab on the left-hand side with the red arrow. That files tab allows you to go in, and what we've put in so far is we've populated it with things that we feel are important initially when we first get started, and so you can access those. Now you won't be able to access these, or you won't be able to be accepted into the Flawless Diamond until you've actually placed your partner order and actually registered as a partner yourself. So this is not for customers. It's not for people who just want to have a quick look-see. This is literally for partners and trying to help them. So again, you can see you can invite members. So I've got a picture of Scott up here in the corner at the moment. So hi, Scott. And so if Scott wanted to invite any of his team members, now obviously I'm not friends with all of those. So as much as I can say, well, yes, I can invite them, I can't do that because it's a closed group. So they have to be invited by the friend. And once they're invited, then I can accept it. So that's fine. So it's a perfectly safe environment. We're not promoting anything else on it. So that's the reason that we've done it. It's keeping everyone safe. Excuse me. I haven't got coronavirus, by the way. It's really, I hope it helps people. I really hope it helps people. And I think, I'm going to pass it over to Nigel now. So beg your pardon, I'm going to let him go on. So over to my other half, my better half, and Nigel's going to do his bit now.
Thanks, Sue. I just want to make one small point about timing on all this. One of the things that Sue was talking about in terms of the diary and planning for success in the Success Express, it's the commitment, it's the time commitment that people as partners make in order to develop their Zinzino business, which is important here. And that's always limited because, of course, we fill the 24 hours a day. Everybody does. And most people who are coming in part-time, and certainly in my experience, it's probably near enough 96% of people come in part-time to begin with. Their time's limited, and choosing how to use their time is something they're not generally used to doing if they're employed. So what tends to happen is people say they're going to devote 7 to 10 hours a week to a Zinzino business, but they're actually not really focusing that time in a way which is productive. And so one of the reasons why the planner is so important is because it helps to focus people upon how they're using their time and making that time productive. Because the essence of this as a business is about duplication. And it's duplicating activity which produces the results ultimately in terms of building the network that everybody aspires to, who becomes part of the business itself as a partner. And ultimately, of course, that's the beach money. It's the money that Kirsten and Sam were talking about. It's being on the beach, being able to surf, seeing a continually continually developing business that generates that passive income that we all want to get hold of in the way that the network marketing industry promises. And I have to endorse what was being said by the two of them in terms of the reason why I got excited was very similar to theirs. I could see Zinzino was breaking the mold in terms of the overall network marketing industry, which Sue and I have been involved in very nearly 30 years now. And they're breaking that mold from almost a serial process of lots of businesses that boom and bust, pop and drop, as Dave calls them. And we were looking at our stage of life. Well, actually, we weren't looking, if I'm really honest. We were exposed to this opportunity through Dave. And Sue and I debated about whether we had the energy at our age to do this again. And actually, when I boiled it down to the reasons, the boxes were all ticked in terms of the potential and the opportunity, not least of which is because Zinzino is organized. It's very well organized, and this is a business is structured like no other networking business I've ever seen. It's got everything in place in order to become a legacy-driven business, one of the great businesses throughout the world, one of those that people will continue to talk about, and leave the opportunity for huge numbers of people behind and with who've actually improved their health significantly. And again, as Kirsten was saying, pioneering is always the most difficult thing. It's the hardest place to be, but it's also the most rewarding. And so one of the things that I've distilled out of my experience in this industry profession over many, many years has been, well, what are the components that really drive the success for someone entering our profession? Because I've witnessed huge numbers of people come and go. And it kind of, in a way, I suppose you can say, well, that's just the nature of the profession we're in. People come in because it's relatively low cost and easy to do. And they equally go out because it's relatively low cost and not so easy to do, but simple. And I put this together in order to help people appreciate the journey, if you like, between making the decision to become involved and that point of beginning of success. Because those steps, they're relatively straightforward and fairly simple. But those steps, if they're missed, any of the steps are really missed, or any of them aren't understood and not mastered, but used properly, then those are the points where people start to call into question the reason why they should do it. And if you master this process and do it well, then you build a never-ending supply and activity of partners and potentially business going forward over time, especially alongside a business like Zinzino. So I'm going to take you through a series of nine steps, which explain this process a little graphically, and I hope make it easier to understand the things that need to be done. And the very first part of this process is the decision, of course. Again, my experience of new partners who've come into the profession without ever having been in one before, it's always a point of, can I do this? Well, the first 24 hours, those of you who know me will know that the first 24 to 48 hours are actually quite important. Most people come in wanting to know where to start. And this is the bit we need to encourage and to build belief around in terms of how we move this forward, because most people don't know where to start. But this is the point. It's about listing of contacts and having the willingness to share them. And so it's sharing not just our business with people, but also the product in ways which get those people to make decisions. And that's a process that we have to take people through. So where to start is actually quite straightforward. It's create your list. It's a very clear task that someone as a new partner needs to understand as they first become involved. And we as sponsors have a duty and a responsibility to help them realize that this is the way this needs to be done in order to maximize the potential for success. So what's happening next is that now that list needs to be shared with the sponsor. Namely, if I'm bringing on a new partner, I'm saying to them, look, that list is important because that's the simplest way for us to expose your opportunity and decision with those people that you'd like to go into business with. The outcomes at this stage aren't important. What's important is they learn that the importance of this process. So we evaluate that list once it's produced, and we agree an approach, whether it's going to be about business or whether it's going to be about the product or whether it's a combination of both. And we then decide to take the next step towards three-way calling and other methods of communication. So that moves us forward into the next bit in terms of helping the individuals absorb the culture. What do I mean by that? Zinzino has its own culture. Every networking company has its culture in terms of the way it deals with recruitment and retention, duplication. We have ways of doing that, but this part of it, this whole decision phase, reinforces the reason why someone originally decided to get involved. I'm not dealing with why today, because the why is already, I'm assuming that why is clear and obvious to the partner. I'll do another session on why at another time. But essentially, someone having decided to join, they now need to make this commitment to doing the steps to begin the process of becoming successful. So plugging into the system as part of the culture. What we do is all about helping everyone understand what needs to be done, why they need to do it, and more importantly, how easy it is and simple to do those things in ways that ultimately duplicate. And I talk about this a lot. Duplication is the key to a successful network, ultimately. If you're duplicating activity, then effectively what happens is you get yourself out of the way of their activity when they understand it. The quick way to do that is to follow this process. So now we've got them into the situation where they can actually begin to believe the process, because the experience of those of us who are doing this already, the development that's already happened here in the UK proves this process, that if you follow this and you follow it consistently with the number of hours a week, whatever it is you have available, you continue to do that, then this will produce results that you want. So now we get into this, I'll talk about reinforcement really. It's the continuing to build belief phase. Again, Kirsten touched on belief. You know, ultimately, those of us who are in Zinzino for the right, we're all in it for the right reasons, but those individual reasons are our own in terms of why we believe it's important for us to be involved with them. And that becomes inculcated in the sense that, you know, when you get the knockbacks, which you do, then it doesn't matter that you get the knockback. You've got the strength to go on going forward because you know that what you believe is right for you and right for Zinzino as a business itself. So what we're going to do now is connect that list, contact with the list with the upline, and produce invitations to the webinars, meetings, etc. All of these facilities that we've been putting in place so that people can expose our opportunity consistently 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, helping all of us access the same system in order to duplicate what's taking place on the ground for those who are seeing what we do to get the same understanding of this as a business. That's duplication. The perception of us is duplicated with the market in which we are trading. And by doing that, that reinforces the overall position of us as a business, us as partners, and Zinzino as a brand going forward. That becomes a perception over time. So when someone is asked about Zinzino, have you heard of Zinzino? Well, that then starts to drive into unprompted awareness. That then helps us to move things forward more quickly. So now we get onto this exponential growth curve, which we'd all love to see, but takes time to build. By doing it this way, we can then get to the point where we're measuring outcomes. Excuse me. So we're stepping by step through the process, keeping it simple, keeping it something we can evaluate and move people through so they understand what they can do, what they should do in order to build that duplication. Oh, sorry. Hit the wrong button. And I haven't found a quick way to get back where I was yet. Here we are. So this is part of the duplication now. We're getting to the point where we're beginning to work with the team to share results, because sharing results is nothing like confirmation to build expectation on the part of your partners. And that helps to leverage it. So now if there are 2 people doing the same thing, that's 3 times the effort, including your own. If that's 4 people doing the same thing, that's 4 times the effort plus your own, that's 5. So you're getting 5 times the activity for 1 times of effort, because that's what leverage begins to build. That's where the networking principle starts to accelerate growth overall. And moving on then, all this time we're learning anyway. It's a subliminal process and a learning process by doing. So it's doing it in order to repeat it and to learn it as a skill. So we get the bigger picture, the larger picture of where ZinZino's going, what we're doing in terms of developing it longer term, the vision for this as a business. You know, Orion's vision is very solid, absolutely simple to understand, extremely easy to get a picture of where we're going to be over time moving forward. And therefore the scale of what's available to us. That also builds belief, because all the milestones that have come and been passed already reinforce that idea that actually ZinZino is going exactly where he says it is. That makes it and gives us confidence because of it. And of course, by doing that, you can understand the gaps, not the gaps in the picture so much, but the gaps in our own skills, our own learning, and what we need to do in order to fulfill that and fill those gaps in a way which takes us to the next level. So third phase, all out action. This is where it happens. This is where the real action takes place. That's not to say action has not already been happening. This is the early part of this has been through the learning phase and the working phase with the sponsor and the upline in order to get that basis of duplication actually occurring. Reinforce the belief of the new partner in a way which keeps them. Because the biggest churn rate in any network is within the first 30 days, believe it or not. It's not so much they stop consuming product, but they stop trying to build a business. And so ultimately over time, that doesn't build the belief and the reinforcement in their individuals. ZinZino has it from both sides of the equation. The product works, we know that. It delivers uniquely because it's validated. The business works, we know that. We heard from Steve earlier that the retention rates are stellar in ZinZino. That builds solid, continual residual incomes because there's a repeat life going on in terms of what people do. That's the concept overall of what we got here. We're building a customer base as well as a partner base. ZinZino is unique in my experience in doing that effectively in the whole of our profession. So in this third phase, what we're looking at is all out action. And we're evaluating where we are so we can build a prospecting culture. This bit's happening. We know it's happening because of a 40% growth rate we're already experiencing in the UK. We know that ZinZino's put on more than 30% a year, certainly over the last 10 years, because you can see that those figures in the public domain because ZinZino is a public company. So we're building a prospecting culture, sharing an exciting principle with people and exciting products and results. So that creates momentum. And this is what we're teaching people who are becoming partners with us, because that momentum phase is the big promise. That's the bit where the income accelerates and your time input doesn't. So you're effectively creating more and more and more income based on the work you did down here at point 1. Because that's where you reach the leverage process. You can't do it all yourself. If you do, then you've made a job for yourself. That's fine if what you want is a short-term income. If you want a network with a residual income long-term, you need to do these steps. Then we're sharing that success and we're duplicating activity by teaching the team. This becomes cultural. This repetition and duplication becomes part of our culture. And that's what we're dealing with at the bottom here. We're teaching that to the new partner in a way which produces that going forward on an ongoing basis. And ultimately, of course, that team development scales up and goes global. We know that's happening already. We know that actually from this call because we've got partners on from South Africa and the US, and I'm not sure whether anyone from Australia is on, but we know that there are partners in this network from Australia and other countries already. So we know this thing is going global and it will continue. Ultimately, it takes on a life of its own. And so where we end up with this, if it's done in the right way, and we follow these simple conceptual steps, then we take someone from the "can I do this" question, which is a confidence issue when people become involved initially, because all of the doubts and question marks come up in someone's mind when they make a decision to try to build an organization when they've perhaps never done anything like this before. If they don't have access to systems, support, and an active partner helping them through this early phase, the chances are increased that they will essentially stop working as a partner. They may not stop being a customer, because it's certainly in Zinzino's case, the product really delivers on the job. But ultimately what we're wanting is success for that partner. So this phase is not something to ignore. You don't recruit and abandon. You recruit and work with. And you work with till they're comfortable to do it on their own. That's the way to lead, to effectively create a sustainable network going forward. So you take them from "can I do this" to "yes, I can." And if you take them through this process, then effectively what happens is that they can help their own teams do that as well, because it's relatively straightforward to do. It's quite simple to understand. And if it's done correctly, the network becomes self-sustaining. Your business will grow regardless of whether you're working or not. And that's the point at which, you know, the beach money happens. You can essentially go away and your check won't go down. In fact, it very likely will go up. So I hope that's of help. It's a simple concept that you can probably adopt yourselves and share with your group, because if they understand this bit, it'll make it much easier for them to actually understand what they need to do. So I'm going to hand back to Dave. Sorry, correction, no, I'm not. We're going to have a short 15-minute break. I'm not quite sure what time it is now. What's the time now? 22.
So if we say 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock start. Is it 3 o'clock start?
No, we start at 3 o'clock.
Restart 3 o'clock. Okay, everyone. So come back if we come back online at 3 o'clock, get yourselves a coffee or tea or whatever, and we'll see you then.